Hello, I'm live. Can you hear me? Sorry, I got delayed because the dudes. Am I live on YouTube? I should be live. Look, if you're watching this not live, check out the little markers in the bottom if you're on YouTube. That'll tell you when it starts. I usually cut them out, but we're going to start in about 10 minutes. I always let people come in first when I do a live. Wait, can you guys hear me? I'm so bad at tech and I got my worst equipment. Oh, yeah, looks like you should hear me. Let me know if it's too loud or too quiet. I'm just going to read the whole Gobekli Tepe site management. Tepe, I should probably know how to pronounce it. I don't. It was just I just kept finding stuff, and I just thought I need to see the whole thing because I keep finding more stuff, so I need to know it in its totality. The mainstream archaeologists, they're just not ready for this level of autism coming at them. Feel like my hero, one of my heroes, that dude in that movie, The Big Short, the autistic guy. What is up, Diego? How are you doing, brother? And we got, oh, are you saying Jay as in, or you're saying hey in Spanish? Hola, mi amigo. ¿Cómo estás? Hey, mano, how you doing, Holmes? Okay, and I thought you were saying Jay though, because he said Snoochie Boochies, which is Jay's Jay from Jay and Silent Bob, his little catchphrase. So this is a site management plan. We're going to read it so that we know what's in it. Because they don't expect us to know what's in it, but we're going to learn what's in it. Probably a bunch of BS. I've already been looking through it. I've already found that they missed. Number one, this is expired, by the way. This site management plan has been expired since January of 2022, which in about 3 weeks here, it's a total of 48 months. It has been expired for a whole car loan until they started giving them out for like 9-year car loans right now. But a whole car loan term, 48 months, that's a regular car loan term. Your freaking car note. You paid off over 4 years. That's crazy. Somebody graduated college. Somebody went to college taking classes at a reasonable rate. And the Gobekli Tepe archaeology plan, site management plan was expired. Like, I guess they would have had to start in the January term and then they'd be graduating now. But, you know, if you start in the spring semester, if we're going by ANZAC rules here, the point is it's been 4 years. Okay. It's been 4 years. There is definitely somebody who started college when Gobekli Tepe's site management plan was expired, and now they graduated. 4-year university, bachelor's degree. We're not talking associates, bachelor's degree. Somebody got a bachelor's degree taking classes at a normal rate in the same time since the Gobekli Tepe site management plan is expired. When did the Cybertruck come out? When was the Cybertruck first sold? 2023. Gobekli Tepe has been expired for longer than they've been selling the Cybertruck. The Gobekli Tepe site management plan has been expired for longer than they've been selling the Cybertruck. That ain't right. UNESCO asked for it, asked for a new site management plan, new conservation plan, like 8 years ago. Like 7.5 years ago, about. We're going to look at it. You're on cell phone? It was hey, but on cell phone. Yeah, it auto-corrected to your Spanish. That's fine, man. I just got confused at first, and then I realized what it was saying. In Hungarian, they say hey with a J. It's H-E-J. You know who wrote this site management plan? I mean, I don't know if this means he wrote it, but Lee Clare's name is right there. Oliver Dietrich, Jens Notrov. In fact, one of these guys had written on the internet at some point that the trees were good. The olive trees were good. There were archaeologists claiming that, and they can be. They can prevent erosion. That's true, but The site management plan explicitly brings them up as an issue. The trees. In fact, by my reading of it, they were supposed to be gone a few years ago. And I think that everyone has been hiding that from Jimmy Corsetti, and it was very obviously Jimmy Corsetti who got those trees taken down. He did more for archaeology than Flint Dibble ever has. Flint Dibble's a punk. He won't debate me because he knows he's wrong. Yeah. What else? Who's here? I'm letting people trickle in, but people are just leaving now because I'm talking shit. Okay. Should probably just start doing it. I'll do that. What's our time at? Why am I doing this? On camera, that's gross. God, I really don't think I want to do this. This is going to suck. Okay, any questions you have? I'll stop after every chapter. Why do I have these headphones on? I don't need these. Oh, that is way better. That is way better. I'm reading. I'm not listening to anything. All right. Cool. Okay. We're gonna get started. Sorry. Type this. Okay. Start at 10. At 6:47, pushed it back. This is. Oh my God, that's what's happening. I'm sorry, guys. I have an internet hardware, but I wasn't using it. This stream might for, but then we will know issue. It's hard. I'm just normal setup. Okay. Am I here? I think it's reconnect. No, it says I'm on Wi-Fi. That's not good. Yep, interrupted. Oh my God. Technical issues always. Okay. That's fine. I was going to start a little early and now I'm not. I think need to make sure. Okay. And we're going to go 8:15. Wait, why am I on Wi-Fi? Oh no. Well, if there's any issues, tell me if there's any problems with the stream. And if I need to, I will troubleshoot it again later. Okay, this is a Gobekli Tepe site management plan. It's the whole thing. This is from 2017. It's actually, I guess, originally 2014, but it was revised in 2017. And this is a 5-year plan from January 2017 until January 2022. And that is when it expired and it has not been replaced. So this is the most recent, albeit per my understanding, out of compliance with Turkish law from reading here, but all this information's in here. And I'm just going to read the whole thing and you can listen to it. What's up, brother? How you doing? Good to see you. As usual, we're going to read this whole site management plan, 2017. There's this nice picture here, site management plan, January 2017. I will talk slower when I'm reading this. So this is the Institutum Archaeologicum Germanicum. Okay, so that's usually called this is in Latin, but I've seen it in English and German. That is the DAI, the Deutsches, which means German Archaeological Institute, basically. And this is the Turkish, like, cultural ministry. I don't know what this is. Oh, yeah, that's Brandenburg. So they did some of their conservation work, and this is important. I mean, we're in it now. We got to read the plan, but as of these things, reading them means explaining them. Brandenburg University of Technology. Yeah, so Brandenburg worked with this. They're not directly, they're probably colleagues of, I don't know how close to the German Archaeological Institute, the DAI. Um, and the Department of Architectural, excuse me, conservation, which I assume does include like archaeologists within it that specialize in that. At the Brandenburg University of Technology, Cottbus, Senftenberg, Germany. Do I have any Germans who can tell me how my pronunciation is? I don't speak German. April 2024, Gobekli Tepe. And then I believe heavily, I'm not sure because I haven't seen the 2014 version, but I believe like heavily updated in 2017 in preparation. This is my understanding of Gobekli Tepe being presented as nominated for admittance to the World Heritage List, and that is by UNESCO, which is the United Nations. I should know what the whole thing is, and I should tell you guys that. That's kind of what I'm here for. So let's look that up. UNESCO, what is it? UNESCO is the United Nations Educational, Scientific, and Cultural Organization. That's what that means. So this was, I believe, in preparation for it being nominated on inclusion on that list. So the German Archaeological Institute, Gobekli Tepe project, I believe they were in charge with the original excavator, who was Dr. Klaus Schwab, another German fellow. And now these are the people working for the Gobekli Tepe project at the German Archaeological Institute. These people are not necessarily German. Lee Clare is English, and I don't know about these other people, but I thought Jens Notroff, or maybe it's Hens Notroff. I thought he was like Scandinavian, but that could be wrong too. And that name looks Turkish, but that could be wrong too. I don't know. Turkish Ministry of Culture and Tourism, represented through the Directorate General for Cultural Heritage and Museums. Remember that, Directorate General. There's going to be a lot of terms that you might want to know, and I'll be highlighting throughout. That's what we're doing. I'm not going to try to pronounce these names. There's no Turkish people here. I wish I had one, but I'm not even going to try. But they are names of people that I believe are Turkish or similar to Turkish, and I don't know how to say them. Okay, drinking water. Preface. Preface. Let's drop a marker in for preface. Oh, you know what? I put it on the wrong side of the word. Oh my gosh, when's the marker? Maybe I shouldn't be doing these live. I need a producer. I don't make enough money. It's okay. 1303. Preface. Okay, so we're reading the preface. This is the preface to the whole thing. Gobekli Tepe is unique, monumental structures. Wait, what? Does this grammatically make sense to everybody? This is throwing me off immediately. Gobekli Tepe is unique, monumental structures 11,500 years ago, and yet revealed largely untouched, having survived in a kind of time capsule. Is an extremely precious site, combining exorbitant historical and aesthetic values with spiritual qualities, to which its setting in largely untainted surroundings contributes greatly. The site is both extremely valuable and extremely fragile, and the present stakeholders jointly bear that responsibility of ensuring its survival so that many future generations can study and enjoy it in the full richness of its authenticity, as the Venice Charter proclaims. It is hoped that this site management plan will help to achieve this goal and to provide guidelines for a sustainable management of the site. Some main points elaborated in the document should be highlighted here at the beginning. Gobekli Tepe, being one of the most important archaeological discoveries in recent years, its conservation and management need to conform to the highest standard, with conservation and management processes making use of national and international participation where appropriate and useful. Gobekli Tepe offers vast opportunities It could become the international center of research on the Neolithization in Upper Mesopotamia. Neolithization in Upper Mesopotamia. It certainly is the key site for this area of scientific research. Its research potential is immense and of a significance still to be fully fathomed. Gobekli Tepe has a chance to learn from the good practices applied at prominent archaeological sites worldwide, but also from the mistakes made at other sites. Still comparatively young as a heritage site, it has all the potential to be carefully adapted to its touristic use. Realizing this transition is a process which takes time and sustainable long-term visions. A rapid exploitation, be it through archaeological research or through mass tourism, must be avoided. Gobekli Tepe is an invaluable and irreplaceable cultural heritage. Sustainable long-term visions. Whilst there is a clear and legitimate desire to expose and to study the archaeological resources of the tell, excavation of Gobekli Tepe should also be kept to the minimum necessary to understand the site and to make it accessible for the public. The bulk of Gobekli Tepe's buried material, cultural heritage should remain untouched and protected by the tell and thus preserved for future generations to investigate and admire. Beyond this, there is also a need for a site design concept that respects and enhances the character of the site whilst helping to convey its cultural significance and its values, without irreversibly interfering with the site's fabric. This could involve an overall concept by a landscape designer using vegetation to visualize hidden structures known from geophysical surveys. Reconstructions, reenactments, or Disneyfication of the site are to be avoided, as this would be disrespectful to the cultural significance of Gobekli Tepe. I like that. Addressing the issues of interpretation and communication, all visitors to Gobekli Tepe should first be conducted to a visitor center that introduces them to the monument they are about to see, to the prehistoric landscape, and to the manifold values and significance of the place and its setting. No site management plan is ever complete, fixed, and immutable. This is particularly true for the present plan for Gobekli Tepe. It does, however, outline the way forward, describing in the action plan the steps to be taken and the priorities to be considered. It is hoped that the present plan will serve as a guide toward the ultimate goal of establishing Gobekli Tepe as a site conforming in management and appearance to the outstanding universal value it so clearly possesses. Okay, so here's what I'm going to do. At frequent times, maybe after a chapter, maybe a section, maybe if there's something I really think I need to add commentary on, I'm going to start commentary. And when I do that, I'm going to take my shirt off. I'm going to take my overshirt off. I'm just going to have my t-shirt on so that people know when I'm doing commentary and when I'm reading it. And if you guys could continue to remind me, because I will forget, to either take off or on the shirt. Okay, so we read all that, right? Thanks, guys. What is up, Mike Dave's Multiverse? How are you doing, guys? I saw a lot of you guys. I'm not clear on the structure of your show. I don't know who's who and who owns what. But that's okay. Glad to see you. Shalom as well. I appreciate that from you, putting me on the same level as Jimmy. And we are right now reading the site management plan. So what I'm doing, I've taken off my overshirt to signify that I'm now giving commentary. We have just read the preface, and we're going to get into the next section in a moment, which is acknowledgements, which I'll probably kind of skip through and we'll go to the table of contents. Okay. So, yeah, so I don't know. Some people might not know all of this, but Gobekli Tepe, this site management plan has been expired for almost 4 years, 3 years and 11 months as of next month. So this plan is from 2017, January, and it expires in January 2000, or it expired in January 2022. So we're coming up on 4 years. So this is written from that context. One of the things that we just read, the outstanding universal value, This is related to it being accepted as a UNESCO World Heritage Site. So I think the context of this management plan being sent out at the time that it was, besides maybe it being due, I'm not familiar with what happened before then. I believe that some of that did have to do with its nomination to UNESCO. So I don't know who wrote this part specifically, but the people that wrote this, once again, we're talking about the German Archaeological Institute, shortened to the DAI. That acronym comes from German, and the Turkish Ministry of Culture and Tourism, represented through the Directorate General. The Directorate will come up again. And it was revised in 2017 to be ready, I think, for that UNESCO nomination, but April 2024 originally. Oh, you know what? These are the names. I'm sorry, I wasn't clear about that before. These are the names, site management plan by them, but I guess these people then revised it in 2017. But then these people are on the header, and I don't understand what's going on and who did what. It's kind of crazy. But yeah, we're seeing a lot here. This is important. The site is both extremely valuable and extremely fragile, and the present stakeholders jointly bear the responsibility of ensuring its survival. So this is very important. Present stakeholders jointly bear the responsibility of ensuring its survivor. So that means that stakeholders have responsibility. This is from the preface. This is setting it in. So if a group is a stakeholder, that means that they bear responsibility of ensuring its survival. And there's lots of different stakeholders. With things like this, it's very easy for them to push away their responsibility because there are so many people that are ultimately responsible that no one is. It's something that happens from corporate culture. Everybody can disperse their responsibility, but they still have it. Yeah. So no justification. I loved that section that they put that in, but has a chance to learn from good practices. I mean, it's real bad. It's real bad over here. This thing's been expired for 4 years. It already wasn't really current with UNESCO's standards for what they wanted. And neither was I guess they have a conservation plan, but there's some confusing things, but that's in more of these documents. I did another live on more of these. What we're going to do now is I'm going to take a sip of water and we're going to go to the next section. And I'm going to mark that in the timer. Okay. We're actually going to read acknowledgements, actually, now that I see what it says. Okay, 2235, and we are going to read acknowledgements, and I have to put my shirt back on. This shirt. Ugh. Wow, maybe that takes too long. That's crazy. Okay, here we go. A first draft of this management plan was realized in 2013 by the Department of Architectural Conservation, Brandenburg University of Technology. That's the department at that university, and made possible through funding from the German Archaeological Institute and the German Research Foundation, DFG. This present edition has taken into consideration many new developments, advances, and new insights that have occurred in the course of the last 3 years. The preparation of any management plan is a multidisciplinary and participatory process. The assistance by all who have contributed to this process by providing information, attending discussion groups, and commenting on the consultation drafts is greatly acknowledged in alphabetical order. German Archaeological Institute, and a list of names. Global Heritage Fund. Global Heritage Fund. What is that? I'll do that at the end. Ludwig Maximilians University. We would also like to thank the Turkish Ministry of Culture and Tourism, represented through the Directorate General for Cultural Heritage and Museums. Furthermore, we thank the German Embassy in Ankara, for Culture, for its support. A special thanks goes to Klaus Reitet, head of the Department of History of Architecture at BTU, who provided invaluable advice throughout the entire working process. In the production of this management plan, we were also helped by Henning Berwitz and Susan Harder, BTU. Okay, commentary time. Overshirt's coming off. It's visually representing. Okay, so now I want to know what the Global Heritage Fund is. Global Heritage Fund. How's my audio, by the way? Anyone in the comments tell me how my audio is? Global Heritage Fund. Transform local communities by investing in global heritage. To date, it is partnered with over 100 public and private organizations. Thank you, Cynthia. Appreciate that. With over 100 public and private organizations at 28 sites across 19 countries, investing over 30 million and securing 25 million in co-funding to carry out heritage preservation and socioeconomic development. Those are pretty different. Based in Hong Kong. I mean, I'm basically trying to find out if they have any connections with people. Sometimes, sometimes they're like NGOs like this. They're really just on that mission, but a lot of times they're not. A lot of times they're like fronts for stuff, but I haven't seen anything so far which tells me that there's anything nefarious about this. It's just okay, Diego. Yeah, I need to change it. So I guess I'll look up who this lady is. Not a Hasking. Oh, an archaeologist. As executive director of Global Heritage Fund, Nada Hosking is responsible for the implementation of Global Heritage Fund's mission to positively transform communities by investing in their cultural heritage. Oh, okay. This seems great. A dual citizen of the Morocco and the U.S. University of California, Berkeley, trained archaeologist, National Geographic. All right. Well, I see nothing nefarious here. She seems cool. Yeah, not everything's crazy. I could look more, but also, I don't want to put this down a whole rabbit hole when I don't see anything unless the WEF jumps out at me. So let's go to table of context. Oh, God. I said I was doing this at the beginning, so I'm committed to it now. Yeah. So if you're watching this not live and you don't want my commentary, you just want my reading of the Gobekli Tepe site management plan. Oops. This was a bad idea, but I am committed now. I'm very committed. Okay, we're going back. Timer 28. 28, and we're going to read the table of contents. Table of contents. So people can come to this section and then they can see, because I'm going to chapter the chapters. Acknowledgements, table of contents. We are currently on page 8. Chapter 1, page 17, introduction. Oh, that's after terminology. The need for a site management plan. Preparation of the 2017 to 2021 site management plan. Sublevel, the working process. Methodology. Back to main level, purpose and scope of the plan. The use of the plan. Chapter 2, description and significance of Gobekli Tepe archaeological site, page 21. Location and boundary of Gobekli Tepe archaeological site. Location, subsection, location, Gobekli Tepe and its boundaries, legal status. Main section, description of the site, the character of the site and its landscape setting. Significance of the proposed World Heritage Site. Subsection, statement of significance. Attributes of outstanding universal value of Gobekli Tepe, parentheses, the tell and the limestone plateau, close parentheses. Values. Chapter 3, research and state of conservation. Excavations and research. Subsection, the research project and its participants, the excavation and research activities, data management, accessibility, and dissemination. Main section, state of conservation. Subsection, the tell, the limestone plateau. Chapter 4, The development of the site and its region. The city of Şanlıurfa and Şanlıurfa region. Subsection. Socioeconomic and cultural historic context. Developments in the city and the region. Main section. Infrastructure and development at the site. Chapter 5. Current management context. Legal and policy framework. Subsection. Legislation and policy. Main section. Institutional framework and resources. Subsection. Institutional framework, resources. Ownership, back to main section. Ownership, key stakeholders and interest groups identified in the current management planning process. This is key here. Just going to add a little commentary. Just going to pull my shirt back so you know I'm doing a quick commentary. It's coming right back. This is important because the preface said that the stakeholders hold joint responsibility. So the stakeholders in different contexts in these subsections, back to it. Subsection, key interest conservation. Key interest, excavation and research. Key interest, site development and tourism. Key interest, community involvement and development. Chapter 6. Key management issues. Identification and assessment of key management issues affecting the Gobekli Tepe archaeological site. Site management system. Conservation of the site and its setting. Excavation and research. Development and use. Chapter 7. Management objectives, aims and policies. Vision. Long-term objectives, 2017 to 2027. Aims and policies for management of Gobekli Tepe during the next 5 years, 2017 to 2021. Chapter 8. Implementing the management plan. Action plan. And then these are their own sections like chapters, but they're not necessarily chapters. List of figures. Appendices. Appendix A, Gobekli Tepe Buffer Zone. Appendix B, Summary of Research Plan for Gobekli Tepe. Appendix C, Concept for Conservation and Restoration Measures for Preservation of Neolithic Monuments at Gobekli Tepe, Turkey, in German. This is where we stop. I'm going to be honest, this is probably not all getting done tonight. I don't see that happening. Oops. No, you know what? We're skipping the commentary. We're going straight to the terminology. We need to do it, so we're going to do it. Terminology, 33 minutes. I don't know why I bothered. Just check for a text. Who texted me? Okay, sorry. Terminology. We're in the terminology section now. Can someone say something in the chat so I know you're here besides Arc Monk? I appreciate you being here. Damn, I wish I had friends. I got to put terminology at 33:30 now. I suck. Okay, what did I just do? Sorry. What the hell just happened? Okay, real bad. Okay, 45, terminology. We're good. Hi, Cynthia, thank you. Unk, am I the Unk? Damn. Am I old enough to be an Unk now? Hoplite official? Damn, a Hellenistic 5011? Is that an MOS? Is that a Marine Corps MOS? Let's find out. Distracted myself again. A MAGTAF planner? Are you a MAGTAF planning specialist? Wait, no, that's 0511. What the hell? No, it's not. There was no point for me doing any of this. That's not what it is. Okay, sweet. Cool, got to push it back again. Oh my God. Why does anyone watch me? I wouldn't watch me. Wait, stay though, for real, I'm lonely. Okay, terminology, 34:45. I apologize so much, that's crazy. The following definitions of frequently used terms should be used as reference when understanding, interpreting, and implementing the management plan for Gobekli Tepe. I just realized I still have the banner saying starting in 10 minutes. We are 35 minutes into the video. Oh my God. Okay. Adaptation means modifying a cultural heritage site or parts thereof to suit a proposed compatible use. Alteration means work intended to change the function or appearance of a cultural heritage site or parts thereof. Attribute refers to physical features which express the values of a heritage site and contribute to the understanding of the site's cultural significance. Attributes form the tangible basis for assessing the authenticity and integrity of the site. Archaeological excavations means any research aimed at the discovery of objects of archaeological character that involves digging of the ground. Archaeological heritage means part of the land-based material heritage in respect of which archaeological methods provide primary information. It comprises all vestiges of human existence and consists of places relating to all manifestations of human activity, abandoned structures, and remains of all kinds, including subterranean sites, together with all the portable cultural material associated with them. In the context of this management plan, the terms archaeological heritage, archaeological remains, and archaeology are used in a synonymous way. Archaeological research means any research aimed at the discovery and/or investigation of objects of archaeological character. Authenticity means those characteristics that most truthfully reflect and embody the values of a cultural heritage site. Bioarchaeology refers to the scientific study of biological materials discovered at archaeological sites and encompasses subdisciplines such as zooarchaeology, focusing on animal remains, archaeobotany, focusing on plant remains, etc. Buffer zone refers to a clearly defined area outside a cultural heritage site and adjacent to its boundaries, which contributes to holistic protection, conservation, and management of the cultural significance of the site. Compatible use means a use which respects the significance of a cultural heritage site. Such a use such a use involves no or minimal impact on the significance. Conservation means all processes of looking after a cultural heritage site so as to retain its cultural significance, and includes efforts designed to understand cultural heritage, know its history and meaning, ensure its material safeguard, and as required, its presentation. Ensure its material safeguard and as required its presentation, restoration, and enhancement. These processes can be distinguished between preventative conservation procedures that aim at preventing or reducing damage through control of the environment and man-made factors impacting on the cultural heritage site, e.g., maintenance and monitoring, and active conservation processes, including, for example, repair or restoration. Conservation plan is a document which sets out Conservation plan is a document which sets out what is significant in a cultural heritage site, identifies how the significance is vulnerable, and sets down the policies and an action plan to enable the significance to be retained in the site's future use and development. Cultural heritage site refers to a geographically defined area encompassing monuments or groups of buildings or sites of cultural value. It includes elements, objects, spaces, and views, and may have tangible as well as intangible dimensions. Yeah, this right here, Ja Williams, this is the correct amount of enthusiasm for somebody monotone reading out in archaeology site management plan. But you know what? I'm reading it. Thank you, Fabian. Appreciate that mono. Tu tienes mi corazón. I don't know. That's romantic, isn't it? No homo. do you say no homo in Spanish? Okay. Cultural significance means intrinsic and extrinsic value for past, present, and future generations. Environmental impact assessment is a study undertaken to assess the impacts of any future development on known and potential environmental resources within a specified area. Such a study is meant for guiding decision making so as to mitigate the adverse impacts and enhance the positive outcomes of the proposed development on the area's environmental resources. Extrinsic value refers to the value or benefit that is derived from a cultural heritage site. Extrinsic values usually stem from the associations that the stakeholders have with the site. Extrinsic value refers to the value or benefit that is derived from a cultural heritage site. Extrinsic values usually stem from the associations that the stakeholders have with the site. Okay. Fabric means all the physical materials, cultural fabric, means all of the physical materials of the cultural heritage site, including components, fixtures, contents, and objects. Heritage impact assessment is a study undertaken to assess the impacts of any future development on known and potential heritage resources within a specific area encompassing a cultural heritage site. I lost it. Such a study is meant for guiding decision making so as to mitigate the adverse impacts and enhance the positive outcomes of the proposed development on the site's cultural significance. Integrity is a measure of wholeness and intactness of the cultural heritage and its attributes. Interpretation refers to the full range of potential activities intended to heighten public awareness and enhance understanding of cultural heritage site. That's how it's written. These can include print and electronic publications, public lectures, on site and directly related off site installations, educational programs, community activities, and ongoing research, training, and evaluation of the interpretation process itself. Intrinsic value refers to the value that is ascribed to the cultural heritage site based on the idea that the site has value in itself. Maintenance means the continuous protective care of the fabric and setting of a cultural heritage site and is to be distinguished from repair. Management refers to the broad professional activity of operating a cultural heritage site. Its primary goal is the conservation of the cultural significance of the site. At the same time, it also takes into account a range of other processes which are required for achieving its primary goal in the context of the site's future development and use. Monitoring means regular review of the general state of conservation of a cultural heritage site and includes an assessment of the impacts of trends, changes, and proposed interventions at the site. Outstanding universal value means exceptional cultural significance which transcends national interests to be of common importance for present and future generations of all humanity. Presentation refers to the carefully planned communication of interpretive content through the arrangement of interpretive information, physical access, and interpretive infrastructure at a cultural heritage site. It can be conveyed through a variety of technical means, including, yet not requiring, such elements as informational panels, museum type displays, formalized walking tours, lectures, and guided tours, and multimedia applications and websites. Preservation means maintaining the fabric of a cultural heritage site or parts thereof in its existing state and retarding deterioration. Preservation means maintaining the fabric of a cultural heritage site or parts thereof in its existing state and retarding deterioration. Okay, so it's obviously not saying retard, like a mentally disabled person. I used to encounter that. Ooh, I got to take this down. I used to encounter this like because I used to be an HVAC technician. So it would say, it's spelled the same, but it would say on our it's been a long time, on the gauges, like the pressure gauge. It might say like it might go up. It's supposed to be at like 60, and the gauge goes up to like 200, and after 200, it says retard, and that means it's French, right? It means is there any French or French Canadian or an African that speaks French? Somebody that speaks French. I don't care what your race is. I don't know why I'm bringing that into it. Is there anyone who can tell me? I think it's French. What retard in French means? It's like slow down, but repair. Preservation means maintaining the fabric of a cultural heritage site or parts thereof in its existing state and retarding deterioration. So slowing down deterioration, I guess. I'm thinking that's what it means. Okay. Reconstruction means returning a cultural heritage site or parts thereof to a known earlier state and is distinguished from restoration by the introduction of new materials into the fabric. Repair means work beyond the scope of maintenance to remedy defects caused by decay, damage, or use. Yeah, I think that's what it is, Diego. Setting means the surrounding in which a cultural heritage site is experienced, its local context, embracing present and past relationships to the adjacent landscape. There we go. Is my light still okay? Let's see. Retard, slow down, delay. Thank you very much. I appreciate that. Someone also could have just looked that up in French. I could have done that in less time than I took to do that. But yeah, slow down. So slowing down deterioration. Oh, that makes so much more sense. Okay, delay, slow down. Fantastic. That's what retard means in this context. Retarding, slowing down deterioration. I feel like they could have used a different word, not because it matters that it's the same word as an offensive word, but just because it would be more clear. Like that, nobody uses that word anymore. I don't know. I guess they're speaking British English in this, so it's different than American. Maybe they say that in England. Um, okay. Site management plan is a tool that documents the existing management framework and develops the site management system for a cultural heritage site. In doing so, it sets out what is significant in a cultural heritage site, identifies how the significance is vulnerable, as well as which external factors constitute the management context for the site, and sets down the vision, policies, and an action plan to enable the significance to be retained in the site's future use and development on a day to day basis. In the context of this document, the terms site management plan and management plan are used in a synonymous way. Sustainable means capable of meeting present needs without compromising ability to meet future needs. That's an excellent way to say sustainable. Use means the function of a cultural heritage site, as well as the activities and practices that may occur at the cultural heritage site. Okay. So I'm going to read this, but we're getting into commentary. So if you're watching this not live and you want to skip ahead to the next section, that's the sign. I took off my overshirt, only half, because putting on and off my shirt was getting pretty crazy. So next section is going to be, well, that's still, oh my God. I'm not reading this. I'm not reading this. Okay, so we're going to start with chapter 1 in a moment here. Damn, people don't like this. I've never had 7 people this low on a live, but I want you to know that to all 7 of you watching right now, I appreciate you, and I'm going to continue reading. If I have 1 viewer, I will continue reading. Lee Claire cannot stop my autistic display of reading archaeology papers because I get to act like my literal autistic hero. I can't skip. I want my money back. Dude, it's a goddamn footnote. Who are you? You didn't pay any money to be here. Who is this guy? White, bald, short, looking like Mr. Clean Ass. Okay. I don't know who that guy is. I'm just kidding. That's my best friend. So one of the viewers is my best friend, which means that, oh, there's 8 viewers now. Okay. There's 8 viewers now. One of them is him. It kind of doesn't count. It's kind of like your mom. My mom says I'm cool. Okay, we're going to start with the next section, chapter 1. First, we're going to read this vision, but we're going to make it part of chapter 1. 1530. Chapter 1, introduction. Is that what it is? Yep. Chapter 1, introduction. Chapter 1, introduction. Shirt's going back on. Shirt's going back on. Over shirt. It's back on. You know, I try to be entertaining. I think I just entertain myself. I don't think anybody likes this. All right, let's go. The vision for Gobekli Tepe. The overarching long-term aim of site management at Gobekli Tepe is the conservation of the values and cultural significance of the site, as well as its setting. To achieve this, a balance needs to be created between the conservation, research, and economic interests in the site. Therefore, the vision for the next 30 years for Gobekli Tepe is to retain and enhance the cultural significance of the site and its setting through conservation of the attributes and spirit of the place, enabling and fostering scientific research, and ensuring sustainable development and use of the site and its setting. Conservation of the attributes of Gobekli Tepe, including those which contribute to the spirit of the place, forms a basic requirement for the long-term sustainable management of the site. At the same time, fostering state-of-the-art scientific research, which contributes to a better understanding of the site and its setting, also has the potential to allow better conservation of the site's values and cultural significance. Future development and use of the site, which takes into account social, economic, environmental, as well as cultural aspects, would contribute to the establishment of a sustainable process, which involves the local communities and is beneficial to them. And now we're really into chapter 1, the introduction. Just some kids playing. You know, I said it was 145 pages, but a lot of them are blank and or have pictures. That's because archaeologists, when reading these papers, they need to have pictures every few pages or they get, you know, they get all confused. Yeah. Okay. Chapter 1, introduction. Gobekli Tepe is one of the most important archaeological discoveries of modern times and already among the iconic of archaeological sites worldwide. Ah, the hell? Oh my God, I was trying to highlight. What are squiggles? Who does squiggles? Get out of here. The hill sanctuary of Gobekli Tepe was created, used, and afterwards intentionally buried. Wait a minute. Hold up. Weren't they arguing this on the internet that Gobekli Tepe was not intentionally buried? It says it right here in the frickin' management plan. Cleveland. Cleveland. Gobekli Tepe is, oh my God. Cleveland, intentionally buried. It says it right here. Come on, dude. Somebody say something. This is crazy. I gotta call Jimmy. He's not gonna answer me. See if I can call Jimmy. Why would Jimmy Corsetti answer me? I wouldn't answer me. I'm gonna text him. Dude, it says Gobekli Tepe was intentionally buried in the first line in the site management plan. I thought that would be entertaining. I don't think it was. I'm trying out here, guys. I suck. Okay. The hill sanctuary of Gobekli Tepe was created, used, and afterwards intentionally buried by complex hunter-gatherer communities at the dawn of the Neolithic. Do they have any evidence for either of those things? Like, I know there's some evidence for it being intentionally buried. I've just seen some people argue against it, but like, I feel like the evidence for them being hunter-gatherers is like nothing, but it's not really the place for them to do it, I guess. It's not. Oh my God. Give me a different color, dog. Come on. I'm so sorry. I have ADHD. That's not a lie. It's a diagnosis. Okay. Today, the artificial mound of Gobekli Tepe and the limestone plateau upon which the structures of Gobekli Tepe were crafted and built form the archaeological site of Gobekli Tepe. The need for a site management plan. Under the auspices of the Turkish legal system, Gobekli Tepe is a registered archaeological site. Archaeologic Sit Alani. Oh, it just highlighted it on its own. That's crazy. Therefore, Turkish law requires a management plan for the site and its surroundings in order to protect, evaluate, and develop the site accordingly. The archaeological site is under protection by the Protection of Culture and Natural Properties Law number 2863. The artificial mound, tell, of Gobekli Tepe and the limestone plateau were registered as a first-degree archaeological conservation site by the decision number 422 on September 27th, the 27th of September 2005 of the related Regional Council for Conservation of Cultural Properties. The area surrounding the first-degree archaeological conservation site was registered as a third-degree archaeological conservation site by decision number 1940 on the 23rd of February 2016 of Sanliurfi Regional Council for Conservation of Cultural Properties. Okay, let's take a note of that. All right. To ensure the long-term protection of Gobekli Tepe in its setting and the conservation of its cultural significance, a management system is needed to provide the framework for decision-making and for managing change at the site. Management plans have become obligatory not only for areas to be nominated as World Heritage Sites, but also for all conservation areas through the changes made to the law number 2863 on 2307 or 0723 if you're American, 1983, as amended by the law number 5226 14/070714 if you're American, 2004. The plan at hand is a tool documenting the existing framework for Gobekli Tepe, reflecting and assessing its overall conditions and context, and developing guidance for the further management process at Gobekli Tepe and for the management system to fulfill its functions. Its function. The True Purpose Heritage Foundation is protecting the site, plus only allowing the investigation of the site to like-minded archaeological groups. I mean, maybe. I didn't see enough about the site. I didn't necessarily see anything weird with it, but sometimes there's a lot of that regardless. It's just kind of implicit. The site management plan is an important tool for all phases of the management cycle: planning, implementation, and monitoring at Gobekli Tepe. Careful planning is fundamental, based on identification of the site's cultural significance, impacting issues, and the development of a vision to ensure a sustainable use of the site. Effective implementation and monitoring of the strategies and proposed actions form essential parts of the management cycle, and the site management plan for Gobekli Tepe addresses all three of these processes that together constitute the overall management processes for the site. Preparation of the 2017 to 2021 management plan. Remember, to 2021. It is now expired, and we're now much later than 2021. There is a long tradition of scientific cooperation and collaboration in the fields of cultural heritage and archaeology between Turkey and Germany. At Gobekli Tepe, collaborative excavations and research have brought to light a cultural heritage of immense international as well as regional and local significance. For this reason, the site was also added to Turkey's tentative list for UNESCO World Heritage status in 2011. The development of a site management plan for Gobekli Tepe was initiated in 2011 together by the Turkish Ministry of Culture and Tourism and the German Archaeological Institute. As the institution leading the excavation at Gobekli Tepe, DAI established a cooperation with the Brandenburg University of Technology, Cottbus Senftenberg, BTU, Germany, in order to prepare the first draft of this plan. In the course of the working process, major partners such as the Museum of Şanlıurfa, Turkey, the Ludwig Maximilians University, Munich, Germany, the Global Heritage Fund, USA, were involved, and several meetings were held to discuss and jointly develop the content of the management plan. The work on the site management plan was guided by and embedded within the official planning process for Gobekli Tepe as led by the Turkish authorities. In the framework of this planning process, several meetings took place between the major partners involved and the Turkish authorities in Ankara and Şanlıurfa. Here, general guidance for the working process was provided by the Turkish authorities that laid foundation for developing initial steps toward a site management system for Gobekli Tepe. This plan has been developed in line with the legal requirements for management plans in Turkey within the framework of the revised conservation legislation of protection of cultural and natural properties, law number 2863, 23/07 if you're American, 1983, as amended by the law number. Didn't I already read this? Or they just said it? Okay, I already read those laws. I'm not reading those laws again. I'd be a terrible book reader for ebooks. Regulation on the substance and procedures of the establishment and duties of the site management and the Monument Council and identification of management sites. 2 meetings were organized by the Ministry of Culture and Tourism prior to and during the preparation of the draft plan. These meetings were attended by stakeholders such as public institutions and organizations, local community civil society organizations, professional chambers, universities, selected private sector representatives, and persons with right to property in the area. These meetings provided important information and helped determine issues included in the management plan. The present document complies with the internationally recognized standards and principles in cultural heritage, conservation, and management, in particular, those established in the following document. UNESCO recommendations on international principles applicable to archaeological excavations, ICOMOS International Charter for the Conservation and Restoration of Monuments and Sites, Venice Charter, 1964, ICOMOS Charter for the Protection and Management of the Archaeological Heritage, ICAHM Charter, 1990, ICOMOS Guidelines for Education and Training in the Conservation of Monuments, Ensembles, and Sites, 1983, the NARA Document on Authenticity, ICOMOS, 1999, ICOMOS International Cultural Tourism Charter Managing Tourism at Places of Heritage Significance, 1999, ICOMOS Charter for the Interpretation and Presentation of Cultural Heritage Sites, 2008, Conservation Principles, Policies and Guidance for the Sustainable Management of the Historic Environment, English Heritage, 2008, and Australia ICOMOS Charter for Places of Cultural Significance. The Borough Charter, 2013. Other documents consulted in the preparation of this plan include the World Heritage Convention, UNESCO, 1972, the Operational Guidelines for the Implementation of the World Heritage Convention, UNESCO, 2013, the Handbook on Management Guidelines for World Cultural Heritage Sites by Bernard Fielden And Leto, 1998, ICC ROM/UNESCO/ICOMOS. The publication by James Semple Kerr, 2013, Conservation Plan. A Guide to the Preparation of Conservation Plans for Places of European Cultural Significance. The Handbook on Risk Preparedness, a Management Manual for World Cultural Heritage by Herb Stovall. ICC ROM, 1998, and the two publications by the UNESCO World Heritage Center, ICOMOS, Preparing World Heritage Nominations, 2011, and Managing Cultural World Heritage, 2013. The draft management plan was examined by the advisory board in 2016, and the plan revised according to the recommendations of the advisory board was submitted to the coordination and audit board for approval in November 2016. After the Coordination and Audit Board approved the plan on January 2017, it was disseminated to the relevant institutions and organizations for implementation. Purpose and scope of the plan. The management plan serves to raise awareness amongst involved stakeholder groups about the essential requirements of site management processes and stresses on a process-oriented rather than action-oriented approach. This plan provides a holistic understanding of the history and cultural significance of the site and its settings, an understanding of the existing management context, including the key stakeholder interests, as well as the vulnerabilities of the site and its setting, steps to initiate a sustainable management system for the site and its setting, an overview of the immediate actions necessary for setting up a functional and sustainable management system for the site and its setting. The plan adopts an integrative approach and thus aims to ensure holistic and sustainable protection, conservation, and management of Gobekli Tepe, including its natural and human environs setting. In doing so, this document deals with the site's immovable historic fabric, its immovable finds present on site, as well as with all elements that constitute the spirit of the place. The use of the plan. The site management plan should be put in use through implementing the proposed action plan. It should furthermore be considered as a flexible and iterative management tool, which should be regularly reviewed and adapted to the changing conditions and requirements. We're going to highlight that right there. That's good. Okay. Welcome. How you doing? We're reading the site management plan. That's what's going on now. When I take my overshirt off, I'm just in a t-shirt. That's when I'm doing commentary. This plan can also serve as a basis for a management system compatible with the UNESCO standards as set down in the operational guidelines for the implementation of the World Heritage Convention. Okay. So, commentary. This is strange because immediately when Gobekli Tepe was accepted by UNESCO, they said that they needed a new, more comprehensive management plan. However, this is saying that this plan can serve as a basis for a management system compatible with UNESCO standards as set down in the operational guidelines for the implementation of the World Heritage Conventions 2015. So why is it that when requested for an updated management plan that was comprehensive, including a conservation plan, a risk preparedness plan, and a tourism or visitor management plan, why is it that they are unable to do that? And UNESCO has been asking for that since 2018. It's now 2026 and they haven't, 2025, almost 2026, and they haven't done any of it. Why is that? Why is that? Someone tell me. That's chapter 1. Okay. So there's a few interesting things here. Okay. We're into the commentary on chapter 1. Higgy, are you still watching? Can I communicate with you through here? This was chapter 1, the introduction. So as the institution leading the excavation at Gobekli Tepe, DAI established a cooperation with the Brandenburg University of Technology. So they're the ones who were responsible for this one. The DAI, I don't think it's led by Lee Clare, but Lee Clare leads this actual project, the Gobekli Tepe research project. So why? So that they're responsible. Has the situation changed to where now they're not responsible for the plan, or are they responsible for the plan? Have they said they're not? Um, that's crazy. What else did I see? Um, yeah, it was crazy. They said hunter gatherers. Like, where's the proof? All right. Basis for UNESCO. Flexible and iterative management tool. This is a load of barnacles. So what this is. Chapter 2. Here we go. Chapter 2. What's our timestamp? Hey, where's Hagen? Sweet. Chapter 2. Sorry, 1 second. I need a break every few minutes. When show. Give me a moment. I gotta do some stretches. Okay, chapter 2. Our time is 1:11:45. Chapter 2. Description and significance of Gobekli Tepe archaeological site. Okay, chapter 2. Let's just make that a 12 even. Oh, wait, 1:12:00. Chapter 2. Chapter 2. Description and significance of Gobekli Tepe archaeological site. What a nice picture. What a beautiful place. I think they had as good of a camera as mine when they took it, but it is nice nonetheless. Um, yeah, they said it was intentionally buried. They really just said it was intentionally buried. Excuse me. In the site management plan. That is wild. Chapter 2. Description and significance of Gobekli Tepe archaeological site. Location and boundary of Gobekli Tepe archaeological site. Republic of Turkey, Sanliurfa, the province, the municipality, more Turkish words. Geographical coordinates, numbers. Gobekli Tepe, situated in southeastern Anatolia, about 15 kilometers northeast of the modern town of Sanliurfa and 2.5 kilometers east of the village of Orensik. I pronounced that how I thought it sounded. Consists of a star-shaped natural limestone plateau of the Jermis Range, on top of which is an artificial mound or tell. Artificial mound, intentionally buried. The site lies in Upper Mesopotamia, between the upper and middle reaches of the rivers Euphrates and Tigris, at the foothills of the Taurus Mountains, in the region generally known as the Fertile Crescent. I think formerly known as the Fertile Crescent. Gobekli Tepe is a regional landmark. The tell itself is 15 meters high, and with 785 meters above sea level at its high, it is the highest elevation of the Jermis Range northeast of Sanliurfa. As such, it stands above the Haran Plain, which spreads to the south towards Syria and overlooks the plains extending to the east and the north around the site. In addition, towards the far northeast of the site lies the mountain area of Karasadag, while to the north, the Taurus Mountains are often visible in the distance. In the west, close mountain ranges dominate the horizon. Gobekli Tepe and its boundaries and its boundary. The archaeological tell lies at the heart of Gobekli Tepe. I did not mean to highlight that. Spreading over an area of about 9 hectares on a natural limestone plateau and measuring about 300 meters in diameter. The remaining part of the plateau is also an archaeological landscape featuring numerous archaeological sites and finds. Together, they constitute the protected first-degree archaeological conservation site, which covers approximately 126 hectares. The legal boundaries of this site follow the natural ridges of the plateau, including its slopes, running along the visible natural beginning of the rocky plateau. Yellow marked line in figure 4. Figure 4. This is figure 4. Okay. Totally lost my place. Sweet. The actual invisible site boundary, however, is a fence erected to demarcate and protect the site. How nice. To retain the undisturbed views and due to topographical conditions, the fence was erected in a wider circle around the site, including also, with permission of the Turkish authorities, areas of state-owned land outside the legal boundary of the protected archaeological site proper, gray marked line in figure 4. The area surrounding the first-degree archaeological conservation site was registered as the third-degree archaeological conservation site by the decision number 1940, February 23rd, 2016, of San Liarfo Regional Council for Conservation of Cultural Properties. It covers an area of 461 hectares. Legal status. Gobekli Tepe is under the protection of Turkish law. The site has been registered as a first-degree archaeological conservation site since 2005. As a first-degree archaeological conservation site, any kind of intervention in the archaeological site not relating to scientific research is prohibited. This includes not only building activities, but also agriculture and tree plantations. Fantastic. So the plantations were planted right before it became an archaeological site, but they kind of defended them. Some of the archaeologists defended them, which is crazy because why would they be banned to be grown if they were a good thing? In practice, these restrictions are ensured through the state ownership of the site. Immovable cultural property such as Gobekli Tepe possesses by law the quality of state property. Article 5, Law number 2863. Legally, the transition of the site into state ownership was concluded in 2007. Since then, all practices related to agricultural use of the mound have been stopped. Okay. Furthermore, since 2013, Gobekli Tepe has the status of a heritage site. This status is recognized by the Turkish law and implicates the officially driven development of tourism infrastructure on site, including the collection of entrance fees. Article 63 of the Constitution of the Republic of Turkey, dated 1982. Their constitution is from 1982. Whatever. Constitutes the highest legal framework regarding conservation in Turkey. This article indicates that the state shall ensure the protection of the historical, cultural, and natural assets and wealth, and shall take supportive and promotive measures towards that end. Principal legislation regarding conservation is the Protection of Cultural and Natural Properties Law number 2863, as amended by the Law number 5226, 1983 and 2004, respectively. The aim of this law is to define movable and immovable cultural and natural property to be protected, regulate proceedings and activities, describe the establishment and duties of the organization that shall set principles and take implementation decisions in this field. The primary legal status of the archaeological site of Gobekli Tepe is archaeological conservation site. The Property Protection of Cultural and Natural Properties Law number 2863 from 1983 describes a conservation site as cities and remains of cities that are the product of various prehistoric to present civilizations that reflect the social, economic, architectural, and similar characteristics of the respective period. Sorry. Areas that have been stages of social life or importance, historical events with a concentration of cultural property, and areas the natural characteristics of which have been documented to require protection. Oh my God, people do this for a living. This is crazy. Just got to read. My mouth gets all dry and then I don't pronounce things right. It's like grade school all over again. Just kidding. I was always really good at reading. Why am I saying this? My shirt's on. Okay. The artificial mound, tell, of Göbekli Tepe and the limestone plateau were registered as the first degree archaeological conservation site by the decision number 422, 27th of July 2005 of the related Regional Council for Conservation of Cultural Properties. The area surrounding the first degree archaeological conservation site was registered as the third degree archaeological conservation site surrounding the first degree one by decision number 1940 2016 of Sanliurfa Regional Council for Conservation of Cultural Properties. Principles regarding the conditions of protection and use of archaeological conservation sites were defined by the Superior Council for the Conservation of Cultural and Natural Property in the Regulation number 658 Archaeological Sites Protection and Use Principles dated 5/11/1999. I don't know if that's November or May. According to this regulation, the first degree archaeological conservation site is a conservation site to be protected exactly as it is, except the scientific works carried out for the purposes of protection. What? Only protection? Okay. Any kind of intervention in the first degree archaeological conservation site not relating to the scientific research is prohibited. This includes not only building activities, but also agriculture. Oh, they're not talking about archaeology. This includes not only building activities, but also agriculture and tree plantations. As for the third degree archaeological conservation site, building activities are permitted within the scope of the conservation plans, which should be prepared by taking into consideration the protection of archaeological values of the site. Designating the site as the first and the third degree archaeological conservation sites means that the permission of the related regional conservation council should be obtained for any kind of intervention at the site. In practice, these restrictions are ensured through the state ownership of the site. Immovable cultural property such as Gobekli Tepe possesses by law the quality of state property. Legally, and these are these images again, first degree, I think. Wait, what's first degree? Oh, there's little numbers. Main excavation area. Regardless, what's up? Thank you for someone being here and saying something. It's okay if you're not saying anything, but I'm talking a lot. Yeah, Gobekli Tepe site plan. This is the main excavation area. Can we see the trees? Oh, it's not high res enough. There are trees there. Okay. Wait a minute. When was it designated? Sorry, I have this on. Legally, the transition of the site legally, the transition of the site into state ownership was concluded in 2007. Since then, all practices relating to agricultural use of the mound have been stopped. When were those trees planted? Oh, the AI is saying 2004. Wait, some trees being about 15 years old as of early 2025. That's AI. I can't trust that. Oh, sorry. I didn't share it. This is so stupid. Okay, let's keep reading. Okay, gotta finish this chapter. Can't do it all. This is very weird, guys. This is just very, very weird. I don't know. No scientific problem. Okay. Transition of the site into state ownership was concluded in 2007. Since then, all activities relating to the agricultural use of the mound had to been stopped. However, some parts of the third degree archaeological conservation site are under private ownership. Furthermore, since 2013, Gobekli Tepe has the status of a heritage site. This status is recognized by the Turkish law and implicates the officially driven development of tourism infrastructure on site, including the collection of tourist trees. No one was going to tell me I had my collar popped. That's crazy. I cannot have my collar popped. Gobekli Tepe translates as Potbelly Hill, a phrase which accurately describes the site's appearance. A large earthen hill featuring. Wait, I'm sorry. I got to see if I need to highlight any of this. No, I'm good. The mound of Gobekli Tepe is comprised of megalithic stone structures as well as many other non-monumental buildings which were erected by groups of complex hunter-gatherers in the early Neolithic. Where is that evidence? Where? Where is the evidence that it was hunter-gatherers? Is this just a crazy assumption that hunter-gatherers never did that? Okay. The monumental structures have been interpreted as a supra-regional Neolithic ritual center and appear as architecturally and artistically highly sophisticated stone enclosures dominated by T-shaped pillars. These buildings were continuously built, used, and then intentionally buried over a span of approximately 1,500 years and have been partially uncovered in excavations since 1995. The Neolithic structures are set on a limestone plateau, which creates not only a magnificent elevated setting, but would also have provided the raw material for the stone enclosures erected within this landscape. The local origin of the stone is attested by Neolithic quarrying activities and workshop areas which have been identified on the adjacent plateau. The archaeological site of Gobekli Tepe is covered by steppe-like vegetation with grass and low shrubs, with a lone mulberry tree on top of the mound dominating the scene. I don't care about this mulberry tree. Oh, these are cool. Just some images. Ooh. Today, the tell of Gobekli Tepe is an excavation site. The accumulation of the mound can be attributed to continuous building activities at the site, also featuring the intentional backfilling of the aforementioned megalithic enclosures. The tell consists of up to 15 meters of Neolithic deposits that, at the current stages of research, at least two major layers of Neolithic building activities can be distinguished. Layer 3, the hitherto oldest layer uncovered, which is assigned to the early pre-pottery Neolithic, i.e. from 9600 BC to 8700 BC, and Layer 2, which is attributed to the early pre-pottery PPNB, i.e. from circa 8700 BC to 8200 BC. In the main excavation area at the southern slope of the tell, excavations revealed 4 round oval stone buildings belonging to Layer 3 and forming the heart of the site as it presents itself to the visitor today. These monumental enclosures are 10 to 30 meters wide and feature large monolithic T-shaped limestone pillars. The pillars are interconnected by stone walls and benches and are always orientated towards a central pair of even larger T-shaped limestone pillars. Whereas the central pair of pillars depicts anthropomorphic elements like hands and elements of clothing, some of the smaller pillars display a wealth of animal and symbolic reliefs in flat and even three-dimensional form. I'm sure many of you have seen this, but here's some of these images. Rather nice here. This one's very famous. See this all the time. This one's tall. I've never seen this one before. That's very cool. Birdie. I like birds. Bird. Okay. These are those enclosures, more aminals. He's got some genitals, looks like a tiger or something. The monumental stone enclosures A through D currently represent the main architectural components of the site. Since 2010, excavation works have focused on preparations for the erection of a shelter that will cover this main excavation area. Work on this shelter has commenced and will be completed in early 2017. However, the extent and nature of the recorded archaeological evidence is varied, comprising both buried and excavated structures and artifacts of the tell, as well as surface finds strewn all over the plateau. Geophysical surveys have revealed that the monumental enclosures of Layer 3 are not restricted to the southern slope of the tell, but can be expected all over the site. For example, excavations undertaken in the northwestern area of the mound have revealed yet another megalithic building, enclosure H, assigned to Layer 3. Layer 3 is largely comprised of the buried round oval monumental buildings. At some point, these structures appear to have been intentionally backfilled and or subjected to inundation through slip of surrounding slopes of the mound. Typically, the buildings are found filled with an immense amount of material, primarily limestone rubble, but featuring flint artifacts and more rarely flint tools, as well as large amounts of animal bones. The latter could stem from large-scale prehistoric feasting at the site. The composition of the backfill, including the careful deposition of artifacts within the enclosures before their burial, including, for example, limestone sculptures of life-size human heads animal sculptures, and stone plates might suggest that ritual activities were connected with the filling process. Yeah. Just some quick commentary. Ritualistic, ceremonial purposes. This is an archaeological cop out. It means very little. He's probably right. It probably is ceremonial purposes, ritualistic purposes, but so is everything else. Everything in life is ceremony. Everything is ritual. Brushing your teeth in the morning is a ritual. That's not even a joke. It is. I have a ritual before I go live. Okay. The archaeological evidence of 1,500 years of human activity at Gobekli Tepe continues with the younger structures of Layer 2, some of which were also unearthed at the southern and northwestern hill area. These smaller buildings seem to mark a continuation in the building traditions of Layer 3, however, in a much more reduced form. In contrast to the earlier phase, Layer 3, the buildings of Layer 2 are rectangular, measure only approximately 3 meters by 4 meters, and feature stone walls and terrazzo-like floors. They possess smaller and fewer pillars, or no pillars at all. Where present, the T-shaped pillars appear to be arranged symmetrically, as in Layer 3. Often, only 2 small central pillars are present. The archaeological site also comprises the limestone plateau upon which the megalithic structures of Gobekli Tepe the wide stretching spurs of the plateau served as a quarry and workshop area in the Neolithic. And there is an abundance of traces that bear witness to the use of the plateaus as the place of quarrying for the monuments of Gobekli Tepe. Archaeological research has identified numerous prehistoric quarries and workshop areas which still feature working pieces such as broken T-shaped pillars and cavities cut into the rock. Possible mixing areas for terrazzo floors, numerous cut marks whose meaning is unclear, cistern-like depressions, and a variety of other surface features. There is also a large number of working tools, such as flints, to be found all over the plateau. Altogether, in its shape and appearance, the plateau's surface was significantly altered by human intervention during the Neolithic. Map of Upper Mesopotamia showing the spatial overlapping of wild variants of the earliest domesticated cereals with key elements of the material culture of the ritual community of Gobekli Tepe. Artifacts, let me see how much is left in this. Nope. I gotta stop. I'm at my friend's place and we're having dinner. Page 37. So we're gonna pause here on page 37, and I'm gonna come back to this, even though less people than normal care. You people that do care, pause on page 37. Will come back. I'm gonna write that on the thing. We'll come back later, probably tomorrow. I will do this again and we will finish. Thank you for watching. Thank you so much for watching. This has been the acknowledgements and table of contents and chapter 1 and preamble, not a preamble, forward, preface for Gobekli Tepe Site Management Plan 2017. We found out that it says in the site management plan that the site was intentionally backfilled, which feels like a thing. Yeah. This is Remy. Okay. Floppy kitty. Okay. We're getting off. Shirtless next time? More viewers for sure? I don't think so. Most of my, oh man, the green screen's not working right. Purpose. Purpose. Whew. You got something to say, Remy, to the mic? Nope. You got something to say? Meow. Meow. Okay. All right. Bye, everybody.